every time. The vast majority of stuff we do is habit. We have programs, if you like, that tell us how to do something. For example, if you want to pick up a pen from the table, you're not sort of working out, now, how do I move these muscles? Which muscles do I need to move? Where? All that stuff. Your unconscious has got lots and lots and lots of different programs, rules, if you like, that tell it exactly how to do what it is you want to do. And so it is with things like being shy or confident. So if you are shy in front of people, somewhere your unconscious has a program. So it goes, right, we're in front of people. How do we react? Get the program out, have a look. Ah, yes, we're in front of lots of people, so we need to do all these shy things. Got it, I can do that, no problem. And hence you become shy. Hence you react shy, you panic, or whatever it is. With all this stuff that we're doing with NLP, we re-examine that original event that taught you how to be shy, learn the new, powerful, positive lessons for you, and in effect rewrite that rule book. So next time you're in that situation, you act differently. So for example, the situation may have originally, you learned that to be shy. As you look at it from the position of safety and from all the experience you have now, and you kind of look back at that event, you may realize, actually, it wasn't teaching me to be shy. It was teaching me that I can survive things. I survived that. I can survive anything. It's teaching me I have my own resilience. It's teaching me that actually it's not the end of the world when these things happen, and you can have a laugh about it. For example, that might be 3 things that you might learn from particular experience. Different people learn different things from different experiences, because we are all different. We all have our own individual experiences, our own individual lessons and ways of reacting. But let's just suppose those are the things that you learn instead. We then effectively rewrite the instruction manual for how to behave in that situation. So that next time you're then in a situation in front of people, your unconscious goes, right, let's get the book out. Here we are in front of people. What do? We feel strong, resilient, we can have a bit of a laugh, and we enjoy it. Right, yeah, we can do that. Let's do it. Bam. You've changed. You don't have to think about it consciously because it's rewritten that rule book. It's like upgrading the software on your computer. And it's a metaphor that I use quite often, partly because my background was in IT for 20 years. I was in IT for 20 years working with all sorts of quite highly complex computery stuff. Stop me if I'm getting too technical there. So I spent my years in IT upgrading and reprogramming computers, and with Freedom Technology, kind of do the same with the human mind, upgrade and reprogram, or reprogram and upgrade, however you want to look at it, the human mind and change the way that we behave. So you absolutely can become confident, and the way we do it is by kind of reprogramming the mind. Reprogramming the mind for the new, more powerful ways you want to behave. Now, people sometimes say, yeah, but it takes 60, 90, 200 days to change and for something to become a habit. And yes, it can do if you're attempting to do it by conscious willpower alone. Then it can take a long time. Absolutely. Not going to quibble with that. We don't use conscious willpower. We're working directly with the unconscious. Remember I said we speak directly with the unconscious in the language which it uses. Help it to reprogram the way it works, reprogram the neural pathways. Which means you can make that change instantly. Let me give you an example. Suppose you have been driving to and from work, the same route every day for years, for most of your life. And suppose that route takes you an hour to get to work and an hour to get home. Now suppose I give you a sat-nav which has got a shortcut programmed into it. A shortcut which lets you get to work and get home in 10 minutes instead of an hour. We install that in the car. Tomorrow, are you going to take the 1 hour route or are you going to take the 10-minute route? You're probably going to take the 10-minute route, right? It's not going to take you 200 days to get used to taking that route. You're just going to take that route. Now, yes, you absolutely could say, you know what, I'm going to carry on taking the 1 hour route. You can. Just as you could go, you know what, I'm going to carry on being shy. Yes, you can if you want to. You're not being forced into anything, but it gives the options. You now have the option to go, you know what, let's take the 10-minute route. Bam. You know what, I want to stand in front of these people and explain what's going on and lead them on a journey and do it whilst feeling comfortable and confident about it. Let's do it. So it's about giving you those choices, and change is always possible, and it does happen very, very rapidly. Very rapidly. When you work with the unconscious, change is always possible, and it happens very rapidly indeed. Okay, so we've kind of looked at why some people are shy and why some are not. We've looked at how it is possible to conquer that shyness, to become confident. So for the last half of this show, let's take a look at maybe a couple of sorts of situations that particularly performers may find themselves in. And remember, non-performers will find their own versions of these as well. First one we're going to take a look at is audition anxiety. Now, if you're not a performer, or you're not going for auditions, job interviews, for example, or an interview to get into your preferred college or university, or I guess even dating can be thought of as a form of audition or interview, right? See how this stuff works? It's so many areas. We're going to call it audition anxiety because that's the kind of people I work with, right? So, audition anxiety. What is that? Where does it come from? And what can we do to conquer it? Can we even begin to conquer it? Well, so with audition anxiety, you know your stuff. You know your lines. It might be job interview. You just know your stuff because you've been doing it for so long. You know that stuff inside out, right? Or you know those lines to perfection. You know the tune, the dance moves, whatever it is. You know that stuff because you've been working on it for so long. It is just part of your muscle memory. So it's not a lack of skill. It's not a lack of ability. Yet, so many people can still suffer from crippling audition anxiety. Now, it might be that it might be enough such that you go to the audition and you kind of stuff the audition up. Why? Well, it's not because you can't do the thing. You know you can do it. Why do you stuff it up? It's because you are just so anxious about everything. You're not really concentrating on your performance. You've got all of this, you know, that voice in your head that's going, we can't do this. Oh, we're not good at this. Oh, everybody else is so much better. Oh, look at them. They're all judging me. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's not just me who had that voice, right? Yeah. So that's kind of going on. And also, you're focusing on, oh, God, I better screw this up. Oh, I bet everybody else is better than me. I hope I don't make a mess of it. Oh, I hope they don't fight. I hope they don't think I'm bad at this. I hope I don't mix it up. I hope I don't forget my lines. All that sort of stuff. Now, see, here's the thing. Whatever it is you're focusing on is what you tend to get. Yeah? So if you go into an audition, or you go into an interview, or you go into a sales discussion, or you go on a date, whatever it is, and you're thinking, oh, don't screw this up, don't screw this up, don't screw this up, don't screw this up. What happens? You screw it up, yeah? Now, if I say to you right here, right now, do not think of a green elephant. Yeah, you all thought of a green elephant, right? Yes, you did. Now, yeah, some people will say to me, Keith, I'm not thinking of a green elephant, I'm thinking of a purple giraffe. How do you know that's not a green elephant? The only way you can know it's not a green elephant is to think of what a green elephant is, so you can compare what you're thinking with the green elephant to know that you're not thinking of a green elephant, which means you had to think of the green elephant first. Whenever you are trying not to think of something, you have to think of that thing so as to know you're not thinking about it, right? The unconscious mind cannot process negatives. You cannot not think about something without thinking about it first. You know what to not think about. As a friend of mine, as Chris Howard puts it, you can't think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it. You can't think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it. Oh my God, what? So the mind can't process negatives. So you're thinking, don't screw this up, don't screw this up, don't screw this up. What happens? The mind is getting the instruction from you, screw this up, screw this up, screw this up. It's focusing on how to screw it up, because in order to know that you're not screwing it up, you have to know what screwing it up looks like so that you can know that you're not screwing it up. So you're focusing on what screwing it up looks like, which means you end up screwing it up, right? So you've got all of these things going on. Plus you've got their fears, you've got maybe lack of confidence, you've got anxiety about being judged by these people. Oh my God, it's one thing for me to practice this stuff in my room or to practice my stuff in the rehearsal rooms, surrounded by people who know it. But these people, they're going to judge me. Oh, no pressure then. Lots and lots and lots of anxiety builds up there. I was going to say something there. What was I going to say? Now that is a very good question, isn't it? You can tell this isn't scripted, can't you? Where were we? So we were talking. It'll come back to me. But so you've got this whole anxiety. Oh yes, I remember what it was. So you've got this anxiety about failing the audition and not showing yourself in a good light. Now, a lot of people think it's because we're scared of failure, but the reality is we're not. And this applies in many situations, and this really applies strongly in auditions, job interviews, dates, whatever it is. We think we're afraid of failure. We're not actually afraid of failure. What we are afraid of is judgment. We are afraid of being judged by others when we fail. We're not scared of failing. We're scared of what other people will think of us, what other people will say about us, how other people will judge us, how they will react to us when we fail. That's what we're scared of. And why do I mention this? Because a lot of people, when they're attempting to overcome things like audition anxiety or, what should we call it, date distress, or whatever you want to call it, when you're trying to overcome that, a lot of people focus on coming to terms with and accepting failure. Failure is a good thing because failure means I'm learning. And Thomas Edison took 10,000 goes before he was able to make a light bulb. And if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. All of these things, which they're true, and they don't help because they're not addressing the actual cause of the anxiety. You're not concerned about, and you're not anxious about failing. You're anxious about being judged for that potential failure. So no matter how okay you become about failure, no matter how much you embrace failure and the lessons which it brings, and there is a lot to be said for that, embracing failure, embracing the lessons that you learn. I mean, yeah, Edison did spend however many times, some say it's hundreds, some 1,000, some 10,000, depends who you listen to, but many, many, many attempts to make a light bulb. Each one failed. But he was not disheartened because he knew each time he failed, he was crossing off another way. I found another way not to make a light bulb. Keep going. I will eventually find the way to make a light bulb. By eliminating all of the ways that don't work, you will find the way that works. So that stuff is true. But no matter how much you come to embrace failure and celebrate failure and learn from it and thrive on it, it's not going to help with your audition anxiety because it's not failure that's causing that anxiety. It's the thought of judgment. It's the thought of being judged. Oh, see how this opens a whole new way of looking at things. Yes. So, when I work with people with audition anxiety, yes, we work on accepting failure, but we also work on that whole stuff around judgment and being judged. And that all comes back to supreme self-confidence about you, who you are, and the fact that it doesn't matter what other people think about you. And we've mentioned this before. Some people will like you, some people will dislike you. And that's okay. Because nobody in the entire history of humanity has ever been universally loved.